Howdy, who all my stock market gamblers? Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on? Well, we got the slow time of year. The volumes come down, and it's kind of easy to manipulate this market either up or down. Right now, we have a couple things that are actually oversold. The Dow Jones has come down. It's oversold. The Russell, the IWM, it's come down. It's oversold. These have dropped below the 20-day, and they're sitting right on the 50-day. And we'll probably get a little bit of a bounce into the end of the year, but they are oversold. NASDAQ and the S&P still holding up kind of strong. But the Dow and the Russell oversold, waiting for a bounce in those. Okay, now I get these comments. I love this stuff. Anyways, I get these comments. But Mike, it's impossible for this stock market to go down. It only goes higher. Everybody knows the market only goes higher, right? Well, the Dow doesn't know it and the Russell doesn't know it. They've been coming down. But okay, so let's talk about that, right? It's impossible ever to have a bear market again. Now, what bear market technically is when you drop by more than 20%. I just call that a correction, but that's an impossibility. The Fed will never let that happen. Now, if you go back just 2 years, is it possible to go back in time 2 years? Well, if we did, that'd be a 30% drop, right? Because, well, basically we were trading, well, the market cap in 2022 of the stock market was $40 trillion, 40 trillion. Okay, what's the market cap today? $62 trillion, right? We've had those two strong years, right? At about 25% a year. So 50%, we got up from 40 trillion. 50% would bring us to 60 trillion. We're at 62 trillion. Buffett indicator says we're at 210% market cap to the GDP, right? That's over, well, you'd have to come back by 50% just to get back to normal. Now, if you went back just 2 years in time, that'd be 30%, right? 30%. Now, what if you came back a little bit farther? What if you came all the way back, let's call it back to, well, let's just call it 4 years back, right? Back to 2020. Where would you be? Well, that would be about a 50% correction. 50%, we've rallied up. We've rallied up 50% in the stock market, right? Well, actually 100%. The stock market has basically doubled since 2020. 2019 to be exact. 2019, stock market has doubled. It's taken off, right? And what is that? That's the printing of money. We printed 20 trillion, 30 trillion dollars in that time, and that's got to go somewhere. So they don't mind when the stock market's inflating upward, and that's all that's happening. The stock market has inflation. The inflation now mainstream, it's got inflation also hit 9%, back to 3%. But okay, so we would need a 50% correction to bring us back to 2019 prices. Is that possible? Now, the commenters, they say absolutely not. It's completely impossible. Now, I would say that there's a lot of froth in this market, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, how this market has got a little bit frothy, right? We've had 2 great years, 25% up and 25% up, so 50% up just in the last 2 years, right? And we're getting to kind of what I would call a little bit frothy, a little bit top heavy, and I do say we can come back down. Now, I know the comments I'm going to get, it's impossible, and that's fine. That's your take. You're a moon boy. I completely understand that. But this market can come back in. It can come back down, and we'll see how that plays out. But this froth in the marketplace is going to get burned off at some point. Now, we've had something like over 50 new record highs in the S&P, over 50 new record highs in the S&P. Now, the year after that happens, whenever we get over 50 new record highs in the S&P, is usually a down year, usually somewhere between 10, 15% to the downside. That's just historically. Historically, it's telling us that the market has gotten too far ahead of itself and will have a pullback. Now, I think gold has had over 40 record highs, right? Gold, once again, outperforming the S&P, been outperforming the stock market for 20 years. But this market has gotten ahead of itself, gotten very frothy. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to do it in kind of a roundabout way to show you the froth in the marketplace. Okay, so let's talk about this. We got Senator Loomis, right? Senator Loomis wants to have a Bitcoin reserve. A Bitcoin reserve, like this is what's going to bring the government out of their debt problem, right? So we're going to buy Bitcoin. We're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin. These rough numbers, 100,000 a piece. So we're going to need $100 billion. Now, Senator Loomis wants us to sell off our gold reserve. Now, I don't even believe we have a gold reserve anymore. We're supposed to have over 8,000 tons of gold, right? And that's sitting in Fort Knox somewhere, but nobody's audited this since the 1950s. So I'm pretty sure that that's already gone, right? They've already pledged it somewhere else. They already sold it off, or maybe it was even stolen out of Fort Knox. I don't know how it all works. I'm just betting that we don't have that 8,000 tons of gold anymore. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But Senator Loomis wants us to sell our gold to buy the million Bitcoins, right? Okay, so we're going to sell the gold and buy the million Bitcoin. Why sell the gold, right? Why not just print $100 billion, right? I mean, because we got a printing press. Why not just print that, keep the gold, and then we'll have a million Bitcoin? But I got a better plan. Right? Okay, so I think we should have what's called a fart coin reserve for the federal government. Yeah, this is not a joke. You can Google it, coin, right? Now, the reason I say we should have fart coin instead of Bitcoin is because fart coin is outperforming Bitcoin by 10x. It's going up 10 times faster than Bitcoin, right? And it does everything Bitcoin does, right? Fartcoin can do everything a Bitcoin can do, which is basically nothing, but it stores your value, right? It stores your value, but it's going up so much faster than Bitcoin, right? So instead of spending 100 billion, we can spend only $1 billion, we can get every fart coin in existence. The market cap of fart coin right now is $800 million. $800 million. It's gaining on all the other coins. It's the fastest growing coin right now. It's way outperforming Bitcoin. So we should just toss Bitcoin aside and we should get a fart coin reserve for the federal government. That's what we should do, right? Because it's growing faster. It stores value and it will get us out of debt. When a fart coin becomes worth $100,000 per coin, we will be completely out of debt. We will wipe out the debt and we'll do it with only $1 billion instead of the $100 billion that Senator Loomis wants us to spend. Now, it's interesting. Okay, now you think, I'm joking, right? I'm really not joking. Fart coin's a real thing. It's like Dogecoin. Dogecoin, it started as a joke, right? It's just a joke. Elon Musk, he's the one that was making the joke. He started Dogecoin. What's that worth today? Has a 60 billion market cap. Fartcoin, we can get every fart coin out there for $1 billion, right? And it's growing so much faster. It's growing faster than Dogecoin, growing faster than Bitcoin. I think we need a fart coin reserve. And it's me and you that are going to be paying for this. We're the taxpayers, right? My vote is for Fartcoin. Forget Bitcoin, go with Fartcoin. This is just my take. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, but that's just my take, right? This is how frothy this market has gotten. There's so much froth out there that Fartcoin can have $1 billion market cap. Dogecoin can have a 60 billion market cap. Isn't that fascinating that all this extra money out there is in, well, I would call them joke coins, but they're real, right? I mean, Fartcoin being the fastest growing. If you really want to see a joke, look for the Hawk-Tua coin. You got to Google that. Hawk-Tua coin. That's got a whole story in and of itself, but that's another coin. You see, there's 30,000 different coins that do pretty much the same thing as a Bitcoin, which is basically nothing, but we could go with Fartcoin and save $100 billion. I think that's just smarter, more prudent. I hope Elon and Vivek see the prudentness of going with Fartcoin over a Bitcoin reserve. Okay, on to a more serious topic. Let's talk about the banking system for a little bit. Now, people don't get what's really going to happen. You see, everybody thinks the banking system has been solved, right? I mean, okay, they're not seeing the commercial real estate problem. It's not just banks that are in trouble, right? The banking system is in trouble. They're going to be falling over like dominoes. Pensions. Pensions are severely underfunded, and they have this commercial real estate paper also. They're going to be falling over. Insurance companies, expect your insurance to skyrocket. Skyrocket. They're invested in these bad assets. Now, just in 2025, which starts, what, a week or two away? Okay, in 2025, $1.5 trillion worth of loans are coming due, right? They're coming due. Now, their loans, these were low interest rate loans, 1, 2, 3%, and now they're up at 5, 6, 7%. But you see, the banks aren't going to make the loans on these. They're not. They're going to default. The people are going to hand back the keys to the commercial properties. These commercial properties, 20% of them are sitting vacant. They're sitting vacant. There's nobody in them, right? They're just vacant properties. So we know the landlords aren't getting the rent money, right? So they can't pay off the loans. And these loans are held by the banks. They're held by the pension funds. They're held by insurance companies. We've got $1.5 trillion of them coming due in 2025. Now, the FDIC is not going to be able to bail out all the banks that are going to be falling over. The government is not going to be able to bail out all the pension funds that are underfunded. CalPERS in California, extremely underfunded. It has 20% in private equity. We don't even know what that private equity is, but we do know that it's not going to be liquid when this stuff starts to crumble. There's not going to be any way out of that. So it's going to take a 20% haircut off of already being underfunded. Insurance companies are in big trouble. You're not going to be able, well, a lot of people can't get house insurance now when they buy a house, but these insurance companies are going to be going out of business. I know it's the Christmas season and nobody wants to talk about this stuff, but the delinquency rates to all these loans in the banks, I mean, the commercial property loans that are delinquent over 10% already. I mean, you got credit card loans delinquent skyrocketing, car loans delinquent skyrocketing, student loans, they don't even pay student loans anymore. Look at all these loans are delinquent, right? And the banks are in trouble. They've lost their money in the bond market already. They lost 30 to 40% of your deposits, and now they got all these bad loans on the books. So what are they doing? They're not making new loans. They're not making new loans. What is that doing? Causing M2 money supply to come crashing down. What is that doing? It's going to send us from the recession that we're in right now into a depression. Last time M2 money supply came down was the Great Depression, and we're going to revisit that. We're going to revisit that. I ever said, but Mike, we got the Donald in there. He's going to fix all these problems. Look, I am very optimistic and very happy that the Donald's in there. Look, I got no problem with that. The problem is he's the right guy to be in there because we're going to need a bankruptcy president. That's what we're going to need. Now, he wants to be the Bitcoin president. Maybe he'll become the fart coin president if he listens to my YouTube video. I mean, why not? Why not fart coin? Hey, he wants to be Bitcoin president. I don't really see the difference. I know I'm just an old fart. That's why I like fart coin. You can say that in the comments, right? But I'm just one of those boomers that don't know a thing about these cryptos. What I do know about is bubbles. And when these bubbles expand, they come back in 80% down. Bitcoin, well, it's already done that 5 times, right? Dropped 80%, but it's going to do it again. But we may get to 120, we may get to 200,000, but it's going to at some point drop 80% again. That's just the nature of Bitcoin, right? That's why you got to go with fart coin. Fart coin's new, man. You'll lose less money. That's just my take. But okay, back to the banks. Now they're getting all these loans are being defaulted on, being defaulted on. They don't have your money. Your money's gone, right? You put your deposits in there and the FDIC doesn't have your money. So the bailouts that you think is coming, it's not going to work that way. It's going to be a bail-in. Now, where was the first bail-in in the U.S.? Now, they've had them around the world, had them in Greece, had them in a lot of other countries where the depositor is just, they bailed it in to bail out the banks. But our first bail-in was right here in Oklahoma, right? Lindsay, Oklahoma. The people that had above 250, they got bailed in. Their money, they didn't get it back. Now, the banking system, it's going to be everybody's money. If your money's in there, it's not really that safe. People people ask me, are credit unions safe? Probably safer than the banks, but they got a lot of those car loans. Those car loans are delinquent because they are making the loan values 120% of the list price of the car during the pandemic. And now those are all going into default when people they don't want to pay it anymore because the car's not worth anything, definitely not worth what the loan is. They were giving these loans out 7, 8, maybe as long as 10 years. But these loans are now in default. So yeah, I think credit unions are a problem also. This is just my take. I don't want to talk all this negative stuff right before the holidays. This is the holidays. You're not allowed to talk about this stuff. And whatever you do at Christmas dinner, do not talk with your family about this stuff. You will not be invited back to next Christmas dinner. I'm telling you, keep it to yourself. We'll talk about it on the channel. You can write the comments in there if you feel the need to comment, feel the need to talk with the other people. You can talk with the Moon Boys. Moon Boys say we're going to the moon. I say not so fast. We'll see how 2025 plays out. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. Punch that subscribe button. Get out there, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.